Hello everyone, and welcome to my corner of the world. In a previous video I shared how some tips and techniques on using the hybrid embossing folder with coordinating dies, and this was the set I used, which is the Delightful Doily and the Delightful Doily dies. And first of all, you can use these items separately. You don't have to use them together. But there's my previous video, I showed you how I cut out the doilies, and I created a card with the outline here, as you can see. And I promised that I would share with you how to use the middle piece. And so this video is all about the middle piece here. So this was the card I created, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. Now my colors that I chose to use is Azure Afternoon. So I have just a piece of card 11 by 4 1/4, and I'm simply going to score this at 5 1/2, and then that gives me a lovely card base. And then I have an additional piece here of the same color, which is 1/4 inch smaller, or smaller. So this actually measures 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to do some tone on tone stamping. It's a technique I love to use because it fills up space without necessarily being over busy. So I have used this technique on quite a few of my videos in the past, but basically tone on tone means using the same color ink as your cardstock. And for this particular card, I'm using one of the new stamp sets from the January to May mini catalogue for 2024. And again, I have used this before, and I particularly love this super duper dotty stamp, and this here that is kind of, I don't know, it reminds me of grid paper. And then it's got some other lovely eclectic images, and I like this here, Thanks for Making Me Smile, and that's what we've used for this particular card. It does have a coordinating die set here. Again, it's called Notes of Nature dies, and as I explained in an earlier video, it does have 3 images, three dies that will cut images, and then we've got these lovely leaves as well. So I pre-cut some of these so that you wouldn't just be watching me die cut. And I've used a slightly darker blue called Azure Afternoon, and I've also used the lovely holographic silver paper. And if I can just get this in the light right, can you see it? You can see that it's sort of picking up blues and pinks and all sorts. And this is the holographic paper, and it comes 12 by 12. Ooh, and I blinded you there, I am sorry. And you can see how the colours pick up when the light hits it, particularly in bigger pieces. Okay, so we're going to start with our tone on tone stamping, and all I'm going to do is ink up my stamp and just randomly stamp all over my piece of card. And you should be able to see that we've got a very sort of gentle texture on there. And not to be left out, I'm going to use the dotty stamp, and I'm just going to fill in some gaps, and just, again, it's just bringing out some lovely texture for, in fact, I'm going to put another one there. Again, can you see? It just gives another level of interest. Right, so I'm just going to close this up so I don't put something vital on it. And then I'm simply going to attach this to the front of my card with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm going to have one on each corner and one in the middle. Now, if you haven't come across these before, basically they're little foam pads that are sticky on both sides. And when you take the backing off and attach it to your card, it just gives a little bit of a lift. And again, it adds another dimension to your card. Right. Now, here is my beautifully cut and embossed doily. And it came out of the center of here, and it cut and embossed all in one go. And I could have used it without cutting it, but this really shows off my lovely decorative paper beautifully. Now, you can see it's pretty see-through. So one of the things we have to be careful is that we don't put adhesive that will show through. So I'm going to be using some glue dots. And I'm going to be very cautious about using them. And I'm not necessarily going to attach every single corner or part down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find an area that is highly decorated, like the center here, and I've put a glue dot in the middle, and we're going to position that in the top corner like that. Now, I know that the edges are flapping, but we can come back and work on this once we've got the rest of our decorations. Now, the greeting is, again, from the same stamp set. Thanks for making me smile. And I'm going to stamp this on a scrap of cardstock with my azure blue. And using another of the dies from the doily set. So this was the one that I used to cut out the doily in the first place. And then this smaller one can actually be used to cut out the small doily, or it can be used like I'm going to use it now to create my little greeting label. So I've got my little mini cut and emboss machine. I'm just going to trim that piece off. And for this, I'm going to need my #1 plate and then a clear plate. So that's going to be a #2 clear plate. And then I'm going to be putting my stamped greeting down, and then my die. And I'm just going to use some sticky note to keep that centered. Like that, so it doesn't move when I pop it through. And then a #2 plate on the top, and then we can crank. There we go. And if it works, That should all be centered up. And yes, it's making me smile because it was centered and it went through without being disturbed. Okay. I have a little bit of white showing, which I'm never happy about having too much white showing. So I'm gonna get out my dotty stamp and I'm just going to stamp off and just stamp onto some of this white, just so that I get a faint bit of texture in there. So it just gives it something else to look at. Set that to one side for a moment. I've got the inside of my card. Now this is 5 1/4 by 4 basic white, and I'm going to decorate it. I tend not to put words inside my cards. Can't explain why, but I just like to do a little bit of stamped. So I stamped off with that lovely grid one, and then this leaf from the same stamp set I am going to use full strength, and that's, we get that effect. And we can't have an envelope or with that, we're going out without any decoration on it, so we'll repeat that. So I'm going to ink up, stamp off and pop it across my envelope, and then use full strength on the leaf. All right. We'll add this inside. I am going to just use some liquid adhesive. You could use whatever works well for you. Like that. And now we can focus on the front, getting that right. Now, with my card, I wanted to kind of sort of have a staggered effect. So I've got some pieces, as I explained, that I have cut out using the dies from the Notes of Nature stamp die set, which coordinates with this stamp set. So I've used this one, I've used all 4 of those little leaf ones there. And I've cut a set out of Azure Afternoon, which is a slightly different blue, but I think it's a nice, just gives a nice little contrast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange my leaves and attach them to the back of my greeting. Now you could use a glue dot. I used to use glue dots a lot there, but I found that this tape here works brilliantly, and it doesn't add bulk to the back. So I'm just going to stick those 2 pieces in place. So that's going to kind of go there. And then I'm going to add another silver. Again, I'm going to take a tiny little bit of tape. Make sure it kind of just pokes out artistically. Flower arranging was never my thing. My mum was a brilliant flower arranger. She did, when my sister got married, she did all the church flowers. She didn't want to do the bouquet, but she did all the church flowers. And they were spectacular. Okay, so there is that piece here. And then I want to have something sort of coming out down here. So we're going to use the other tinsy pieces. So use the big ones in the middle. And I want them to sort of come out about there. Like that. And then I should have, if everything's worked out, another couple of pieces. But I think I've managed to lose one. So much for being careful. Never mind. No one to be any the wiser. So we just pop this one the other side of the silver, like that. And then that is done. I think I wanted it that doily like that. Now we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of this. Now, as I record this, we are in celebration, where you can qualify for free product if you place $50 order US or multiples of $50. And so one of the free items that you can choose are these lovely opaque faceted gems, and they come in 2 different sizes, 3 different colors, and you get 150 of these for free. So I think that that's a really good deal. Now I'm going to scatter. So I've got these ones, a pool party, which I think will go quite nicely with all my other blues. And so I'm going to add those, and I'm going to put one on there, and then I'm going to look to see where else I'd like to put one. And I want to be able to fix this down a little bit. So I'm going to put, oh, it fell off. I'm going to put one here, like that. And that gives me the opportunity to pop another glue dot underneath, because that will not be seen. So I'm going to pop the glue dot on the back of the doily and pop it down like that. This piece has already been held in place by my little label, and so I think I'm going to try and put another one. I'm going to try and put another one somewhere here. And there's a nice little flat part there. And so pop another one, another glue dot underneath there, and there, can't be seen. So there you have another pretty card using the Hybrid Doily Embossing Folder and dies, as well as the new Notes of Nature as well. So if you were to buy any of these products, you would be able to qualify to get these particular embellishments for free. Or you could choose anything else that is in the Celebration catalogue, and you can always find that by looking up on my blog. So all the information for this particular card will be in a link which you'll find below this video. Just click on that. It'll take you straight to the blog post, so you're not hunting and pecking looking for a particular post. If you've enjoyed my video, perhaps you'll go ahead, give me a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe, perhaps you'll do that and share my videos as well. Well, I've certainly enjoyed sharing with you these two projects using the hybrid doily dies and embossing folder. I thank you very much for spending some time with me, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye for now.